Welcome back. In this video, we're talking about transitions, or in other words, how to avoid sounding like a robot. Transitions are these fantastic little tools you have in your writer slash speaker kit. And so let's dive into it. First of all, really great writing. It's a bit of an illusion, isn't it? So I've been reading the Game of Thrones series, way late, and totally after I watched the TV series. But gosh, I really get immersed in that world. It's not high literature by any means, but the writer is absolutely fantastic because he's able to pull you in and help you forget that you're reading something. You're in another world, right? You are seeing what he's imagining, and you can read chapter after chapter after chapter and kind of get lost in it. Anyway, I found. I'm sure you have your those books like that as well for you. So really good writing is an illusion. It's an illusion that pulls you into it to help you really hear what's happening in the mind of the writer. Now, the illusion can be broken very easily. If your writing, well, sucks essentially, then you're going to break the illusion. You're going to remind the reader that, hey, I'm reading something, and by the way, it's pretty bad. It's easy to confuse your reader. It's easy to make spelling mistakes, typos, awkward sentences, using the passive voice when you don't need to, or just having your writing sound robotic. Right? It's like I did this, then I did this, then I did this. Unfortunately, that's not good writing, and it will impede your communication with the reader. So let's use transitions to clean this up. What is a transition? Really, it's just words and sentences that act as bridges between your topics. You're invariably going to be talking about more than just one thing in any paper you write or letter you write. And so you will need to sort of make it smooth, transition from one topic to another, which unfortunately a lot of students don't seem to do in their papers. It goes from one to the next. You guys are awesome, so don't worry about that. You can also think of transition as signs that tell the reader what's coming next, right? This helps us maintain the illusion. Transitions are also a bit of a courtesy, right? You're driving on the highway, you've got signs. It's telling you what's coming up, telling you where to go. It really makes your life easier, doesn't it? So we want to do this, absolutely. You don't want to assume that your reader knows what's happening with your writing. We know as the writer inside our head what argument we want to make, but it's an art and a learned skill to actually be able to put yourself in the shoes of the reader and say, hey, will they know what I mean? Um, I remember being in maybe it was grade 5 or 6, and I was writing this story, and we exchanged stories with our group partner, and my group partner was like, "What do you mean here when you said you jumped?" Because I was talking about being in a plane that was crashing, and I had a parachute on, and I wrote something like, "And then I jumped," and she was like, "What do you mean you jumped? You jumped up and down in the plane?" Like she just didn't understand that I was talking about parachuting. And in my mind, it made perfect sense that of course you'd be parachuting out of a plane that's crashing, right? Normally. But for her, I think she knew, but she was just making a point that my writing wasn't clear. And so you have to be very clear with your reader so you don't catch them up in this confusion that will take them out of the illusion. Right? So we use transitions. You also use transitions when you're changing sections. You're changing up your argument or your logic. You're moving to something new. We're going to get into examples in a second. But basically, you do this because, again, it's a bridge. You make your writing flow more smoothly. Not smoothie, smoother. It's kind of like drywalling. I don't know, how many of you have done drywalling or seen it done, but basically, you put up these sheets of drywall on the wall. You screw them to the wall, and it just doesn't look very good as is. You've got the screw holes. You've got the gaps between the boards. I've done too much drywalling in my life. Drywalling is basically your sentence, right? It's like I like cats. All right, that's a piece of drywall you put up on the wall, screw it in. But maybe you want to move now into something about dogs. You're going to need some mudding and taping, right? You're going to need to join these two things together. You can't just leave a bunch of sentences unconnected around the basement, or you're going to get fired as a contractor. I'm mixing a lot of metaphors here for fun, but you get it, I hope. Drywall is the big piece, but the mudding and taping, those are the transitional words, and sometimes called signal phrases, which we talked about in another lecture. That sort of introduce what you're about to talk about. Sometimes a transition is as simple as using a single word, and you know these words. However, moreover, nevertheless, furthermore, right? However, I made this argument, but there's something coming that kind of is going to change the meaning or argue in a different direction. Moreover, I'm saying this, but I'm also adding this to it, right? Nevertheless, and furthermore, similar types of transition, right? Very simple transitions that are single word. Here's an example of a bad sentence. Changing a tire is a useful skill to learn. True, right? It can save your life. Period. Picture yourself on a deserted road. Period. Your tire blows apart and you bring your vehicle to the side of the road. The person who knows how to change a tire gets to work on time. The person who does not know how to change a tire will likely sit in his or her car waiting for help that may never come. Be sure to learn how to change a tire, right? What grade level would you put this writing at, right? I would probably put it at grade 5 level. It's not very good. It needs to be improved and it needs to be just smoothed out. All of the ideas are fine. They just need to be wordsmithed a little bit. So how can we fix this? Well, you use some transitions. All right, this is the better version. Changing a tire is a useful skill to learn. Beautiful so far. Moreover, it can save your life. You're saying X, but also X plus 10, right? For example, picture yourself on a deserted road, right? For example, is a great one to use. You can use that all day long. Picture yourself on a deserted road. Suddenly, great, your tire blows apart and you bring your vehicle to the side of the road. Now you're not just using these robotic, choppy sentences where it's this idea, this idea, this idea. You're connecting them together a little bit. And you're also, with something like suddenly, you're painting a picture of how of what's going on, right? You want to evoke an image in your reader's mind. This is part of the illusion, right? Bring your vehicle to the side of the road. At this point, the person who knows how to change a tire gets to work on time. However, person who does not know how to change a tire, right? You're juxtaposing those two people. The person that knows how to change a tire, person that doesn't. That's why you can use however there. In short, be sure to learn how to change a tire. In short is basically in summary, or whatever other phrase you want to insert there. In short, be sure. Yeah, perfect. This is great. Now this flows together much better. It's not, a masterpiece of literature, but it flows. Let's do one more. Oh no, I thought we had one more. Maybe later. Okay, sentence transitions. Yeah, a little bit harder when you're moving from one topic to the next. But definitely you have to, before you write, think about what you want to say. It's worth maybe outlining your work before you start writing, so that okay, I'm going to make argument X, and I'm going to move into Y. I'm going to support that with B. We're going to go to conclusion C, and it's all going to flow together nicely, right? It's like a journey you're taking someone on. It's not we're moving from this section over to here, over to there. We want everything in your document, whether it's a letter or an email, to flow nicely, right? Or if you're bouncing around drastically, at least give us some context about what's happening, right? It may be difficult to do this, but with a little bit of practice, it's actually not that hard, and it's totally worth it. You don't want any jarring topic changes. You don't want to start talking about dogs and then about balloons, right? You want to have nice, smooth flow. Here's a bad example again. Cats love to meow. They do so for food and for attention. It's how they communicate. However, sometimes incessant cat meowing can drive an owner crazy. A dog's bark is often not only much loud. Whoa, what happened there? We just transitioned from cats to dogs. That's weird, right? Much louder than your average cat meow, but also much harder to quiet once it begins. Trying to silence a barking dog is like blah, 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 right? Okay, what's the problem there? We have jumped around a lot. First of all, it sounds robotic. By the way, this may be a personal pet peeve, but I hate this. It's how they communicate, semicolon, however, comma. I don't think you should ever have however in the middle of two things. Put a period here. Start a new sentence. I just don't like how that's done. Anyway, personal opinion. It breaks up the flow. All right, so this is bad because A, we're choppy, and B, we're shifting from one topic to the next without any kind of integration, without any kind of transition. we're fixing this a little bit. Cats love to meow, period. They do so for food, da 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 da. Yet is a great transition word. No matter how annoying a cat's meow may be, a dog bark is usually much worse, right? So what have we done? We've we've actually added almost a whole sentence in green here. Yet, no matter how annoying a cat's meow may be, the dog bark is usually much worse. See, we've kind of transitioned from the first idea into the second idea in this green sentence here, right? You might wanna, if you're switching from one idea to the next, add a sentence. You know, think about if you're reading along and it sounds jarring, then you'll probably need a transition sentence in there, maybe more than just a word. And then you can continue on with what you were saying, right? Okay, the internet is a great invention. Not only can you learn much on the internet, but you can also be entertained for hours on end. Losing your iPod can be a nuisance. All right, you see what happened there? You broke the flow. There was no transition between the first two sentences and the next sentence. Really weird, right? This is a grammatical, or well, it's a stylistic problem. So we can still talk about the iPod thing, but we need to connect it to the earlier ideas. And look, we're talking about this for a reason. This happens all the time in assignments. I'd like, especially for your research report, for everything to flow in it. Not just for bouncing around from idea to idea, section to section. There should be flow, including transition words and transition sentences. This is fixed, all right? So we have the same basic sentence, but we've added a transition sentence. Additionally, the internet is convenient for shopping. Now we can talk about the iPod because we're talking about how easily it can be replaced. And I know iPods don't exist anymore. I get it, okay? Just go on the internet and find your nearest Apple or electronics store. Great, we'll do this all online today. Yeah, so you see what we've done here? We just added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words that connects. It's basically like the glue that's holding these two ideas together. Brilliant, right? No more awkwardness. Now, you can go to the other extreme and use too many transitions, okay? We don't want to be transitioning all the time. So don't load your text with transitional expressions only because you know that these things exist, right? Use your tools appropriately, not just because you have them. They need to appear natural. So if you have two ideas that are unrelated, they need to be connected. Connect them with a transition. But if they're actually related, maybe you just need a single word. Maybe you don't need any word at all. You don't want to do that. Don't add things that don't belong. Cut unnecessary words. Okay, one last example. Ted likes hot dogs. Furthermore, Ted enjoys hamburgers. Okay, so we have the hot dog topic. We have the hamburger topic. They are related because they're, you know, as close as foods get. And we've used the transition word here, furthermore. He likes hot dogs, and also, furthermore, he enjoys hamburgers. Now, it's not a good example to say something like this. Ted likes riding his bike. Subsequently, Ted likes hamburgers. What do bikes and hamburgers have in common? I'm sure that's the start of some really great joke, but I don't know the answer. It's not connected, right? So we can't say subsequently because, okay, sure, we're talking about what he likes, but there's no real logical connection between bikes and hamburgers. So the subsequently here is like the bone in the throat. It's sticking. It's we're tripping up on it. Now, if you really wanted to put all this stuff together and make it sound great, here we go. Ted likes riding his bike, period. Fine. When he's not riding his bike, Ted also enjoys eating hamburgers. However, despite Ted's poor eating habits, he maintains a normal body mass index. Great, this flows. I mean, we've taken all the concepts in the previous two sentences and we've combined them all into a very simple paragraph that flows, right? He likes exercising. But when he's not exercising, he's eating, you know, unhealthy food. But, however, despite his poor eating habits, he's still fit. He still looks good in a bathing suit, right? So you understand, hopefully, the concept here that we don't want to just drop our words on the page. We don't want things to hit the reader on the head. We want them to all flow smoothly. This is not just a aesthetic exercise to make it look pretty. This is a way that you can communicate more clearly, to create that illusion for your reader that, hey, they're in your brain. They're hearing what you're saying in your mind through the page, right? So keep all this in mind when you're writing your next assignments. and check FOL for the assignments and whatever else we're doing this week. Okay, thanks for watching.